Hello, this is Mel Thompson, and this is a podcast in a series of podcasts about political risk. Today I'll be discussing global warming. The movement to divest from socially problematic and flawed investments has now reached the door of the fossil fuel industry. Pension plans are beginning to remove fossil fuel stock holdings from their portfolios. Now, this is a very good idea in my opinion, and it's a timely one, just like the movements to divest institutions of higher education from South Africa in the 70s and the 80s. The time has now come for the same review to be conducted of fossil fuels. Although I am a capitalist and have no problem with the fossil fuel industry in theory, I also care about global warming and believe that it is man-made and that fossil fuels have contributed to it. This is a major political risk. Global warming is a political risk. You need to wake up to that fact, deal with it, embrace it, and try to understand that it needs to stop. And you cannot continue to fund the fossil fuel industry through investments and at the same time talk out the other side of your mouth and say that it is a problem to have the temperature of the planet warming up the way it is. You have to do something to prevent that, and the one thing you can do is to stop pumping money into one of the major contributors to global warming, which is the fossil fuel industry. Now, for the naysayers who believe that this particular divestment movement is nothing more than a bunch of environmentalists exerting some type of overt influence over boards, corporate boards, where they may have a parent or two on at a trail mix company, you might want to think about that, because that's not the facts at all. It's certainly very, very far from the truth. To date, over 500 institutions, including the Rockefeller Brothers Fund and the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, have divested from the fossil fuel industry. Now, this cannot be overstated, this particular fact. And that fact is that global warming is a major political risk that must be addressed. And this divestment movement is accomplishing that by going after a major player, which is the fossil fuel industry, in its most vulnerable place, its wallet. Yes, we need internal combustion engines in fossil fuels for now. But we also need to stop being fools about how we use them. Until that day, the only real solution is to continue to limit their use and to develop alternative energy sources to replace these fossil fuel engines, internal combustion engines, and the use of fossil fuels in other ways in the future. We have to start moving aggressively, and we have to start moving in a way that we acknowledge that fossil fuels have contributed to global warming. At some point, they need to be phased out, and the internal combustion engine needs to be replaced by something else, probably electric engines. And as we can see now, we are in a phase where we have hybrids. So we're going down the right path. Now, in no way possible am I advocating the elimination or the use of fossil fuels in a reckless manner that would harm foreign direct investment. I'm not talking about stopping everything today and then leaving everybody standing by the side of the road. That's ridiculous. To the contrary, I support actions that clean the very air that these investors breathe and the water that their workers drink. Nothing could be more cautious and supportive than that. This has been Mel Thompson.